When you have your girls, you're never alone. You get together for coffee, maybe to work out, or just to laugh. We created Hey Girl, just for you. Can't wait for you to join us.
Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome to Hey Girl, episode 11. We are back. How's everyone doing? So glad you're here. Hey Kim.
Hey Kim, how you doing, girl?
I'm great. So glad to have everyone here.
Yes.
And if you are joining us for the first time, welcome. If this is your first time here, we want you to know that Hey Girl is a safe space where you can share your experiences and be affirmed. Life can be so complex, even overwhelming, but we believe in the power of conversation. Knowing we're not alone is half the battle. Knowing you're not alone, you have your girlfriends surrounding you, affirming you, is all you need, right? That's what gets us through, girl. That's what gets us through.
Absolutely.
Girl is all about.
Yes.
So Kim, how are you? How has the week been?
Oh, the week it's been good. It hasn't been a bad week. It went by fast. But it's been a good week. Busy. I mean, just as you know, I'm still teleworking from home and probably will be for a while. I mean, it just makes my schedule even, I don't know, longer days. Sometimes I find it where I'm not shutting it off at 5 o'clock or 5:30, and I look up, it's 9:30 at night, and I'm still working.
We texted the other night, and you were like 11 o'clock or 11:30. You were still working. What is that about?
I know. But during the day, I'm home with the kids. My husband's gone to work, and so I kind of have to play both roles with them being here, cooking a little bit, especially for Landon. He's pretty much on his own, but with Kendall, my 8-year-old, just trying to get her adjusted. And then, if they have to run somewhere, take them, then I come back. Well, I have to make up that time, especially if you have work to do.
Right.
So
that's my life too. Yeah.
That's
work
it.
Day gets kind of fragmented. It does. It's stretched out a little more.
Yes. But I won't complain. I mean, I'm blessed. We're blessed to be working and be able to work from home. Right. And I won't take that for granted.
God for a job. Yes.
Right. Mm-hmm. So I'm blessed in that way, because it could be the latter. Right. How was your week?
Yeah. I feel like time is just moving fast. Like I wake up in the morning and I'm busy, and then it's like it's 2 o'clock, and then it's 6 o'clock, and then it's 12 o'clock. And I don't know. I can't keep up. It's just, I know. It's just going too fast.
It's going by so fast. Yeah.
It's been just a busy week. Yeah. I guess the days are full, and so it's not good or bad. It's just busy.
It's just busy. Yeah. And someone sent me something the other day that said, "Oh, wonderful! We're 6 months out from Christmas." I'm like,
"Are we about that already?"
Yes.
I can't.
And it's gonna go by.
Yeah, I think what I'm finding is that I'm always behind the 8 ball, and I can't keep up. And so my kids will ask me questions. Mom, what are we doing about XYZ? Or what are we gonna do, on Sunday or on Saturday? And I'm like, what day is today? Because I can't think about that right now.
Right.
And they're like, well, what are we gonna do? I'm like, wait, I can't. So you're talking to me about Christmas? I can't. I can't process that.
I know.
What I'm doing in the next
hour
now,
in this moment.
Talk to me about.
I know. And I'm such a planner, so this is really throwing me off. I mean, I'm pretty much. I have my planner. I got everything set. Yeah. Not so much these last couple of months. I just stopped using my planner, which is like, okay.
Wow, Kim Jacob.
I got to get back on it. I know.
Mercy. No, see, you stress me out with that though, because you're like, we gotta do this now. We gotta do this now, and I'm like, oh, we don't have to do this now. We really don't. Let me just get through today.
I know.
I can't.
Trust me, I stress my husband out.
Yeah,
definitely.
Okay.
He's more like you to slow down a little bit.
Yeah, slow down. Okay. Well, You know what? Next week's episode, we're gonna do a little more of this conversation, but we can't. We got to get to today's episode.
Yes.
Let's talk a little bit about our partnerships. We have two today that we want to talk about.
Yes.
And I just give a little plug for the candy jar. I am definitely in love with her. Okay. We haven't even met in person, but Candy Price is so sweet. No pun on the word candy, but she's super sweet. And my little jar that she sent me it got wet. So it's like not even cute anymore. But I love this body butter.
Yeah. It's really good.
When I first used it, I was like, okay, that's nice, whatever. And then I used it again. I was like, yeah. And then I used it again and again. And again,
again.
All week I have been using this.
Especially on your feet and like your elbows, on your hands. Yeah.
So good.
Amazing.
It is so good. Smells good. It's rich. It's
rich.
Rich. So rich that you see the size of this little tub, right? It's super tiny.
It goes far. You don't need much.
I have been using it all week and I have not hardly put a dent in this little thing.
You don't need much because it's so rich, Yeah.
So if you get like the regular size, honey, it will last you forever. For the rest of your life, honestly.
Absolutely.
The Hey Girl promo, 15% off. Listen, it's the real deal. It's the truth. I love this body butter. And Candy Price, wonderful. And the candy jar, I think we put the slide up. She's on Facebook. Just go to her site and check it out. She's got different scents. She's got stuff for your body and for your hair. So you will be well moisturized.
Yes. So we'll put that link right in our little comments and stuff. So if you go to. Well, our second person to feature is Natalie Ray. Our girl Natalie. And she has we'll put her website as well. Yeah. But I mean, when she came out with the African, what can you say? How can we call it? The African,
it's very ethnic,
Afrocentric, items, and products, and clothing and accessories.
So her, right?
Yes, it's so her.
Stylish. She's always got great style. Just like it's her. It's the stuff she wears.
Yes,
she's very colorful and very stylish. And then just this year, or late last year. She came out with her actual store. And it's been a long time coming. And it's beautiful things. Beautiful clothing and accessories.
And some of these items, I should have brought my purse. Well, some of these items I have purchased from Natalie. And one of these is my fan. Y'all, when I tell you, this is a wonderful fan. It's wonderful. It's beautiful. And every time I carry it, everybody's like, where did you get that fan?
You've never seen a fan like this.
No. So look at this, and it has like a little handle here to hold it together. You take that apart, and you guys look at this.
Look at that.
Isn't that beautiful?
It's so beautiful.
And so it's beautiful. Out of really good material. I mean, this is some good stuff.
It's heavy.
It's heavy.
I have like it. Yeah.
Yeah. And it blows good wind.
Honey, you go, like, if you're in church, like the whole aisle is going to benefit from the wind.
Yes.
Like the whole aisle in church is going to be like, thank you. Hallelujah.
Yes. So this is good, you guys. You got to purchase a fan. And then I also purchased from her. Now, I didn't wear my head wrap today, and Natalie knows I have been struggling trying to do this, my little head wrap. She said she's going to send me a tutorial. So, Natalie, I'm waiting on that tutorial. But you guys, this thing is so nice. And it has like the wrap that goes around. You put on your head, and then you have to play with it. But it's so nice. It's well made. It has like satin on the inside. So it's beautiful. Colors. The colors are so vibrant. Yeah, they're beautiful. They're beautiful. I wish I would have brought my purse to share with you guys. Now that is bad. That purse is bad. Pictures.
Yeah,
we'll show you guys a picture.
Got some really sharp stuff. I mean, listen, I make a statement if you go out and stuff. We'll put some pictures up on the Facebook page, on the Instagram, show off things. Use the Hey Girl promo code for 15% off, and listen. You'll be styling and profiling, and you're going to be well moisturized.
Absolutely. Yes. Anyway. And she has masks too, by the way. We'll put that plug in there. Stylish masks. you know.
Love it.
So, love it.
I love it. It's gonna be so cute. Okay, so you're gonna be cute because, honey, if you're single, calling all the single ladies, you're gonna need
All
to
the
be cute
single ladies.
to find Mr. Right. Okay.
Right.
So, as you know, all this month we've been talking about what I've learned, and each of our guests has shared what they have learned from their experiences. You know, they've been challenged in different ways and learned different lessons we can all benefit from. And so we are excited to have a special guest today because we do get a lot of requests, rather, from single ladies who want advice on finding Mr. Right. How do we
Yeah.
find a man? And so we are calling on all the single ladies to join us today because we do want to dig into some of the challenges that you face as single women looking for a man. And so, you know, there are different reasons why women are single, right?
Yeah.
So we want to
Right.
acknowledge that, first of all, up front. Some women are single by choice, right? You're living your best life. You're not necessarily looking
Don't want
to
to settle
settle
down.
down.
Right.
That's okay. That is definitely okay. And then there are some people who are single not by choice, right? We need to acknowledge that as well because of either loss, either divorce or death. And so that's a whole different situation. And then there are those who are ready. Maybe you've been single for a long time and you're just ready to settle down and you're really kind of trying to figure out, you know, or looking for your man to show up. And so we have a guest today who has experienced two of those three situations. She has been out there living her single life, you know, fine with it. And then there was a time in her life where she was ready to find the one, and she had to navigate those waters. And we're going to talk about the lessons that she learned through both of those experiences, and she's going to share some of those things. And let's see what we can learn from her experiences. She doesn't necessarily have all the answers, right? But we're just going to see there's power in conversation, and we're going to share from one another's experiences, right?
Yeah.
So let's welcome our dear friend, Mrs. now,
Yes,
Renee Centris Stevenson. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you, Kem and Kim. How are you both?
We're fine. How are you?
Great.
Doing pretty good. Yeah.
Good. That's awesome. Well, you're not single anymore. You are a married woman.
Yeah, 8 months today, actually.
8 months today. All right. All right. Well, let's first start off the conversation by you telling us about yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself and where are you from? Those type of things.
Okay. Well, the telling of where I'm from is always interesting because my dad was in the military. So I really don't have like a particular place to call home. We traveled around all my life. My parents are from Tennessee. And so once when I went to Oakwood, I decided, okay, I want to have some roots somewhere. And so I went ahead and went to graduate school in Huntsville, and I just kind of wind up staying there and kind of got comfortable there. And I was there for quite a while up until 2012.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I don't know if I'm skipping into that part, but basically the Lord had to make me uncomfortable in my being comfortable and moved me out to California where I am now. I'm in the Bay Area.
Okay. So let's back up a second. So you said you were an Army brat or a military brat.
Yes. Army brat.
Do you have siblings?
I have one brother.
Okay.
And that's it. Yeah.
Okay.
So just two of you.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and tell us what you do for a living. So you went to Oakwood for undergrad.
Yeah. So I studied social work. I got my bachelor's in social work, and then I got my master's at A&M, Alabama A&M, in social work as well.
Okay. Wow. So talk about the time in your life when being single was great. I mean, I can remember a time when it was great. I think it was a short time. But talk about that a little bit. Talk about that. And what was going on then
Yeah.
what was great about being single as well?
Okay. Well, I think I kind of want to go back just a moment because when I was in college, I thought, oh, wow, this is the opportunity. Well, first of all, this was the first time I was around so many people that looked like myself.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, oh, wow, these people look amazing. And so I thought, okay, sure, maybe I'll find someone here, and that didn't happen. It's like, oh, I'm still young, no problem. And so I'm, enjoying life still. I have my friends, and time has gone on. Maybe the late 20s, early 30s is when it was like, okay, I'm ready. I'm
Yeah.
ready. So
So
that was about the time.
yeah,
In
so
late
so
20s.
college life was fun, grad school. Did you think you would find Mr. Right during your college years or during grad school years? Was that the expectation?
I
Or
I
was that
thought,
your thing? Because you were in quote unquote black schools, HBCUs. Yeah.
right, yeah, I thought college. That's where you
Right.
find your,
Yeah.
yeah.
Your spouse.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
didn't happen.
Yeah. And so you get through your college years, you don't find Mr. Right, and so now what? You're into your career, you're living life, and so how do you navigate the single life waters when it didn't happen the way you thought it would? What does that start to look like?
Well, okay, so one thing is I had a prayer journal,
Mm-hmm.
and I started praying for my husband, and I was writing down the prayers, whatever decisions that he's making, help them to be wise decisions, protect him, those different types of things. And I started that probably it was after grad school. So somewhere in my 20s, I started that. Um, and somewhere in my 30s, I'm like, oh my goodness, he's taking so long. I'm upset with him. I'm just getting frustrated with you. And so
Yeah.
I stopped praying so much. I'm like, you're taking too long. And so, yeah, so that was kind of the method that I was taking at that point. Yeah.
So at
Yeah.
what point did you, I mean, I know, I'm thinking for me, at a certain point I was like, were you like, Lord, okay, the clock is ticking here. I mean, did you really get sad? Or were you just like, you know what, Lord, I'm just going to keep the faith. And I know you're going to send me someone. I'm just going to continue to do it, but he's coming. I know he's coming, Lord. I mean, what were your
Right.
feelings during that time?
Well, actually, I think probably like the down part is I was having that faith, but I was losing the faith.
Mm.
And I feel like it was the enemy that was speaking to me, that was using the word. I'm saying, Lord, your word says that he who finds a good wife finds a good thing. Am I not good enough?
Yeah.
What is wrong? What's going on? So I went through that process for a little while, but I also had great friends. I had a good support system, whether they were, especially my married friends, both male and female, who they were encouraging. They, reminded me that was of the enemy, and that wasn't of God. And how the enemy will use sometimes the Bible. He did it with Jesus, and so that I had to remember. Always talking about, my friends were talking about how you don't want a man who just wants to pick the fruit from the low hanging, and you hear that and you're like, yeah, you're just telling me that to make me feel good. And so I'm hearing that, but I had to keep encouraging myself. The other thing is, I did not know if I was going to get married, and it was getting discouraging. And I was telling the Lord, I'm like, Lord, if it is not your will, take this desire from me. Help me to be content. And so I was content for a little bit, and then it started coming back again. And I'm like, wait a minute, we talked about this. Take it from me if it's not your will. If it's your will, okay, can you make it happen? Right. Can you make it happen? When is it going to happen?
Right.
And so that was the battle and the struggle of just going through that experience.
So I was going to ask you that. Did it ebb and flow? It's like there were periods where you were like, oh, I'm fine. I'm just going to, live my life. And there were times where it was like, oh, I want it to happen now, or did it kind of come and go, your desire?
It came and went, and then it kind of stayed. The other part was that it wasn't going away, but then I'm like, okay, Lord, I'm having to wait. I get it. But can you give me some encouragement? Am I going along the right track? What is it that I need to work on for myself? So that's kind of the journey that I started taking.
I want to ask you a question about dating. What was dating like? Like what kind of challenges did you have when you had prospects that would come along? Can you talk a little bit about that?
And did any of them come to the point where it got serious? But then like, boop, it's like, no.
Yeah.
So all of this is going to be basically coming from maybe Huntsville, where there's plenty of individuals of like-mindedness, or it appears. And it just didn't happen. The dating was not there. I say that maybe there were more females than males. And so, I just wasn't among those that were that dated. Yeah. I wanted to date. I waited, and it did not happen. So, and that was the thing that I was like, Lord, can you give me a bone? Can you give me some kind of encouragement? Is it me? What's going on? So that part did not happen. I do remember one of my friends, she was trying to introduce me to someone, and she knew I'm also shy. So that probably had something to do with it too. So my friend was like, okay, let me help her along. And so, but she knew because I was shy, it's like, let's make this more comfortable. She had another friend of ours in her office at the time. And so there's the three of us, and then the male enters the room. They all say hi. I look, I say hi, and I continue with what I'm doing. And so my other friend started talking to him, and so he thought she was the one that he was coming to meet. And so it was just I guess it was a big fail. And so we laugh about it to this day. But that was my issue, I guess. It couldn't be so awkward, and that was awkward to me.
Yeah.
Oh my. Yeah. So it was a situation.
And the women today, I feel like. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Kim.
No. I was just going to say it was a situation of being shy, but also the numbers were against you. There were so many women that were available that the guys tended to just go for the girls who kind of rose to the top, basically.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah.
And that was kind of what I was going to ask Kim. Like, I mean, I forgot what the percentage is. They're saying for per man, how many percentage? I know in Atlanta, it's like one man versus however many of these ladies that, So when you have one single man and 50 other women or whatever,
numbers game.
The numbers game. And you kind of have to kind of step out the box, kind of, sort of, or be pushy. And that's why, especially in today, women are so aggressive. It's totally different than when I was growing up. They're the ones that's asking men to marry them and asking them out on dates. And
mercy.
It has definitely changed.
Yeah. Well, and you mentioned about, as far as my preference was African American, but I also wanted, someone who was Seventh-day Adventist. And so you that it just kind of goes down even, it narrows it down even more. So yeah.
So then the question becomes, okay, so you raise a good point. Then did you consider widening your focus at a point? Did you say to yourself, okay, I'm harming myself by being so narrow. Maybe I shouldn't just date Seventh-day Adventists. Maybe I should date Christians, more broadly speaking. Maybe I should date, not just African Americans, but, other ethnicities. Did you think about that?
Yeah, I did consider that. And then I didn't stay on that long.
Why
I
not?
wanted what I wanted. And,
Okay.
I wanted what I wanted.
Think-
And I felt that,
yeah.
go ahead.
No, go ahead. Because I was going to say, I think that women out there who are single, I've spoken with them as well about standards, right? Because we all have our standards. Like, I want this, 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 and this. And then you're single for 20 years and you're like, okay, I'll take this off the list and this off the list. I'll just take this, this, and this. Like, at what point do you begin to take things off the list, and what are your non-negotiables? But go ahead. Didn't want to interrupt you.
Yeah, well, yeah, I did have my non-negotiable. So that became African American, Seventh-day Adventist. Those were the two non-negotiables. Even if once upon a time they were Adventist, and that was a consideration, because like, okay, the truth. Okay, there's a possibility that you can come back, right? So let's see. Those were the two that were non-negotiables. The 6 foot, 6 plus, that, it's like, okay, just be taller than me, certain things. Okay, so you don't have that 6-pack. All right, okay, we can deal with that. So it was just kind of narrowing it down to that. Now, it's really interesting, and I don't know if I'm skipping and going ahead of you. I have a really good friend, and Kim with the E, Ronaldo. And he's always talking, we're always talking about, relationships, males, this and that. And the one time I was out here actually at the time, and we met up, he mentioned to me, he's like, Renee, he's like, you mentioned about how men cannot appreciate the way you love. And I'm like, because he says, I love hard. And that was the one thing that I'd heard before from another person. And so I'm like, And it was at that point that I changed my prayer. And my prayer was to give me someone who can appreciate how I love, and that I can appreciate the way they love me. And so that's when my prayer started changing.
What do you mean by that? What do you mean that can appreciate the way you love?
So I guess different ways. I am, I'm all in, I'm very caring. You need something here. I've got that for you. I'll find it. Let's make it work. I am affectionate. A lot of people are not, there are some people that are not affectionate. There are I guess the love language, period. It's just, can you accept my giving without taking advantage of it?
Yeah. I mean, that's what I was just about to say. I mean, sometimes you're like that, because I'm the same way. I love hard. I give. I love to make people happy. Come along with that is, people feel like they can take advantage of you, so yeah, I can definitely relate to that. Definitely. So do you think setting your standards high though is a mistake for single ladies, or do we kind of have to be realistic? What do you think with that?
I think you have your two different standards. You have the ones that they're non-negotiable, like you said, and then you have those that you want. I remember in college, one of my friends, we would always talk about the type of man that we wanted, the tall, straight teeth, the no blemish, can sing, can this, that, and whatever. And so those are the I guess the bonuses or the pluses. Yeah. And so I think that's what it is, but not to settle because you won't be happy. Yeah.
No,
you won't be happy.
You won't. And especially find it compatible, especially like for me, I want someone who's going to work and not a lazy man, but like even simple things like, can you have nice teeth? Can you,
But teeth can be fixed. Right?
Exactly. And that's where I changed it. I'm like, okay, yeah, you know what? Okay, teeth can be fixed. Okay, so we can move that one.
Yes. Those things can be fixed. Yeah. But I think definitely, like you said, not lowering your standards.
Yeah.
I mean, I know some of them are just like simple things like fixing your teeth and, you know, or some of your appearance. I don't know, but that could be
But
all
I guess that
fixed. But
initial
personality,
attraction.
your initial,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you know, especially a hard worker, someone who loves their mom. I know I always say that pick someone that loves your mom, loves their mama, you know, those values, you know, I think are very important, and you really shouldn't settle for that, because I tell you one thing about it, you know, you can't change or try to change a person once you're married. You definitely cannot do that.
Yeah, anything that's indicative of their character.
Yes,
that's not going to change.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, so let's talk about how you did end up finding Mr. Right. Okay, so let's talk about the number of years that passed from when you thought you would find him, because you thought you'd find him in college. How many years until you ultimately did find him? Let's quantify that.
Many years. I can't remember exactly when that I really want. So
approximate. Let's give it approximate.
Yeah.
Maybe 15 years, maybe.
So
yeah,
15 years before you met.
10, between 10, 15 years around there.
Okay. So the average woman out there who's looking for Mr. Right is like, oh my gosh, is it going to take me this long? Okay, it might. So,
or not. Remember, I did not change my prayer until I changed my prayer maybe 3 months later is when I met him. After I changed my prayer. Yeah.
Okay. So, so let's talk about what's the prayer that they need to pray. Let's write that down. Ladies, you got your pen? This is the prayer.
Write it down.
Okay, so let's talk about how you found him.
So I mentioned how the Lord made me uncomfortable, and I wind up moving to California. It was totally a faith move. And it was for a job. A friend was needing someone to fill a position. And because, again, the same friend that tried to hook me up with this one guy, she knows me. And so she had everything figured out. You can stay with me. You know, if you like the job, then apply for the job. And, you know, so she took out all of the, but what about? And I was also at that point where I needed to move on, that I was fed up. I had said to a friend, you know, I'm at the point now, like, even if God has to move me, I'm ready. So I had gotten to that point of my career and just like life period. So I drove out actually. I didn't know where I was coming. I didn't know anything about the job. And I didn't realize that until I was on my way. I'd gotten to Ren's house in Riverside. And so then I was on my way to my next, I'm telling people, I'm going to San Francisco. And so I'm talking to my friend and I'm like, what's your address? And she said her address. And I'm like, wait, I thought you were in San Francisco. And so she's like, no. And then I'm asking, so what's the name of the school? You know, because I was coming out here to teach. And then she told me that, and then she was telling me a few other things. And as she's telling me more and more, I'm starting to freak out. I'm like, oh my goodness. And so when I say that it was a faith for me to come out, I came out blindly. And I say that the Lord knew that I didn't need to know all the information at that point to get me out here. I was out here.
You said you were freaking out because what? It wasn't what you thought.
I was freaking out because it was out of my comfort zone, way out of my comfort zone.
How so? What was it?
So I knew I was teaching, but I didn't know the program was so large. I didn't know I was going to be teaching masters. I'm used to teaching bachelor level, and just, you know, so it was just another type of fear that started coming. And I'm like, oh my goodness.
Okay. You purposely
so
didn't
fast.
Thing?
You know what? I wonder that. I don't know. She's on here. But I do feel I feel that was the Lord shielding me from that, because I didn't need to know all the information. So that was part of, I guess, the beginning of my my faith walk. Okay. It was a lot of growth that I've done since I've been out here. I initially when I got here, people are not as friendly as they are in the South, and I'm like, oh my goodness.
Very
And
intimidating.
I did not see a lot of. Initially, I did not see a lot of African Americans, and I'm coming out here. I'm like, Lord, you have brought me out to the wilderness, and I actually felt like I was one of the children of in Israel, and I'm like, I don't want to complain, but I kind of want to go back,
Look at that.
So, yeah, I'm like, okay, they're the African American men that are Christian or that even are Adventists. There's very, very few that are straight. Are very, very few, and that prefer African American women. And I'm like, oh, you have just brought me to the desert. And so, for the first 2 years I was out here, I was trying to go back. And then I'm like, okay, all right, let me just, I started enjoying life out here. I was enjoying being single. Because I'm like, if he's going to work it out, he's going to work it out. Now, the one thing I'm going to kind of fast forward it. It's kind of like 7, I guess maybe is the magic number, or that special number, that prophetic number, is when I actually did meet my now husband, but we were friends, and there was no type of, we were just friends.
Yeah.
It wasn't where we were interested in each other or anything.
Right. So you mentioned that. So how did you and your husband meet? How did you guys meet?
Wait. You said 7 was the prophetic number. What was the 7?
Well, I'm thinking about as far as like in Adventists, we're like 7, there's certain numbers, 7. 7 is one of those numbers. 13 is another number.
7. It was 7.
Oh, I had been out here 7 years.
7 years. Okay.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you was out there 7 years.
Gotcha.
Kind of sounding like you were just getting adjusted. Really saying, okay, I still went down. I'm just going to have fun now. I'm just going to enjoy life.
And I was enjoying it.
You were enjoying it.
And then
So how did you and your husband how did you guys meet?
So we met through mutual friends. And so we started doing different projects together. We were doing teen retreats. There was a group of us and doing teen retreats. Everybody else was married. And so everybody else would kind of go off onto their own thing. And we're just here. And so we're there. We're always talking, kind of getting to know each other a little bit, but still not to the like, oh, I'm interested in you type of thing. So that's how we became friends. It was very comfortable.
Is this team retreats? Is this like at church, or this is with your work?
With church, yes.
Church, okay.
Yeah, church related.
Okay. Yeah. So you all just, because everyone else was coupled off, you guys accidentally ended up as co-leaders of the...
we would just kind of sit and talk because they've gone. And so we're just sitting and talking. And that's how we became friends. So that was what was needed for me.
So how long were you guys friends until you said, or was like...
Until something happened, yeah.
Yeah. You're like, maybe I like this.
Yeah, when did the switch flip? Come on, Renee. You know what this is about. Let's get to it.
Yeah. It's really interesting because I'm trying to remember probably 6 or 7 months. And I'm like, whenever he would, because he did not live here. He lived somewhere else.
Okay. How far away was he?
4-hour drive. 3.5 hour, 4-hour drive.
Okay.
And so I didn't see him often. So when he did come up, and sometimes we would talk over the phone, just as friends, just catching up or whatever. But when he would come up and he would leave, I found that I was still thinking about him. And I'm like, oh, what is this? And I'm like, I think I'm crushing on this guy. I'm like, no. And so I did not tell my friends. He's best friends with one of my best friends out here. And so he's best friends with his wife, basically. We're good friends. And so if I told her, then the best friend would know. And so I didn't say anything. And after a while, I'm like, okay, I think it's time, because I think I really am having a crush. It's no longer, I think I'm crushing on him. I think I do have a crush
You
now.
do have a crush. So who was the first one to kind of say, okay, what is this? What are we doing? Should we take it to the next level? I mean, did it come to a point? I surely had to come to a point to do that because you guys are married now. But at what point did both of you go like, okay, let's just go jump in it?
Well, prior to that, it was in June. We went to the Grand Canyon. There was a group of 15 of us, went to the Grand Canyon to surprise two of our friends for their birthday. It was a quite interesting trip. We were not fully prepared and did not know we weren't fully prepared. It was triple digits. We didn't have enough water. It's only by the grace of God that we did survive. And seriously, there was an older couple that I think maybe are in their 60s. I'm not sure. I don't want to say that and get that wrong, but I think they're in their 60s. They were the oldest. The youngest was like right before, maybe she was 9. And the older couple, basically, they were getting further and further behind. And Paul, that's my husband, he was at the end, kind of like bringing up the rear. And so I kind of stayed back rather than leaving him alone. I kind of stayed back with him. And so we spent all of that time, and it took us literally all day to get to our destination. And so for him, that's where he was like, wait, she's hanging with me. And so that's kind of where, he says that he was like,
Like a price to bring two people together.
Near-death experience. So, yeah. But as far as like when we started talking, I maybe sometime in September at that point is when that conversation started happening.
Okay.
It was very gradual, it seems like. Very gradual process.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So we talk about it now, and we both realize that we're very similar in that he does not go straight on like, I'm interested in you, and starts, talking to the female, this and that. He gets to know them first, which is the most comfortable way for me as well.
So your prayer then about your love language was answered in that way.
It was answered in that way, yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
so
wonderful.
many other things as well.
So what other things?
Yeah.
I want to hear it all.
The question is, what ways is he different from, others that you engage with? Yeah.
So we have a lot of interests together, and that we share. Mm-hmm. So when we did our premarital counseling, the pastor had us to do this 300 question test on compatibility and so forth. And one of the things that he told us, that out of the many years that he's done this with couples in the test, we're probably like the third couple that have been that close to being so compatible. And it was in so many different areas. We share the same love for music, especially like the old back in the day songs. And so we go back and forth with, I'll feed him the words, he's singing. Oh yeah, by the way, he sings. That was one of the things that I wanted, but I'm like, okay, I'll forego the singing. He sings. And so, just different things that were kind of, I was seeing that was coming together, that I was like, oh, wow, the Lord gave me this. Wow, he gave me that too. And so that was part of it.
Mm-hmm. So how long was it, the time? I hope I didn't miss that part, but how long did you guys date when you finally said, okay, let's lock each other down and let's just date? How long was it before he proposed?
So we started dating September of 2017. Mm-hmm. Yeah, 2017. Wait. Now I'm getting a little. Maybe it was 2018, and we got engaged June 2019. That was one. And so by the time we got married, it would have been about 2 years.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah, so we got married October 2019.
Okay.
Is that right?
So, wait, so
That's
you
one.
got
That's 1 year.
engaged in
Maybe it was.
June,
Go
married in
ahead.
October?
Uh,
So you,
um, yeah, 4 months. 4 months engaged. It
wow.
was.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy.
Quick wedding. Okay, quick planning for a wedding. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Well, I had some really good friends that were already, yeah, and I had already started a few things too, which
Oh.
actually, going back when I changed my prayer, I had prayer partners, and I told them one morning, I said that I'm preparing for marriage. And one of my friends, she laughed at me like, what do you mean? I'm like, I'm preparing for marriage. How can I start praying that, I want to be married, and not do anything about it? So I'm going to start preparing myself for marriage. And so that was, I think, part of the journey as well. Taking better care of myself, looking at my finances, trying to take care of that, doing better. I'm getting older, and I'm like, Lord, I don't want to, be too old, and I'm looking old, and so I started trying to do better with my skin, trying to figure out my hair. I'm like, I was going natural at the time, and I'm like, I don't want to be waking up and looking all crazy in the morning. What am I supposed to do with my hair? And so I started doing that preparation.
you did this when? This was before you met him, or while you all were together?
No, before I met him. When
Girl,
I changed my prayer, I started changing what I was doing as well.
Wow. I love that. So that's perfect segue, because my last question, because we're running out of time. What advice would you give to single ladies now that you have found Mr. Right? What advice would you give them then about finding him?
Well, I think the one thing is he has to find you. And so, but being available, and go according to your personality. There are some ladies like Kim with the I was saying that are just really out there. I hear that when a man is interested in you, you don't have to guess.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things that when we started dating at the beginning, he said, I'm not interested in dating. I'm interested in marriage. And so that's why we were able to start from there. But praying about it, working on yourself. And what is it that you need to work on for you? Help, ask the Lord to open your eyes. What do you need to do? What do you need to learn from this experience and still appreciate life too?
Because one thing I was thinking about before we started talking was women who may be losing hope, whose self-esteem may be taking a hit. What would you say to those out there who may be in that space? Anything in particular about that?
Going back to the prayer, but also surrounding yourself with friends, not just the single friends, but those
married.
good, healthy, those good, healthy married friends as well. Because they also helped to prepare me, learning from their experiences.
And I would say, like one of the things for me is setting realistic expectations. To me, you can't ask for all of these lists of things if you don't have those lists of things yourself, in preparing yourself, for your husband. Some things like cooking, and some women don't know how to cook. I don't know. But, are you prepared to be a wife,
Right.
to a husband? So yeah, there's a lot goes on with it, and I grew up watching the Huxtables on the Cosby Show. Well, it's not like that all the time. That's for sure. And, definitely having those expectations that it's not always not going to be those happy and fun loving times, all the time, but your marriage still can be wonderful and great and good and so satisfying, to each of you, to both of you. So
definitely. And I love that you began preparing yourself
Yeah.
even before meeting him. I think that's so
Mhm.
good. That's so
Mhm.
good because
Mhm.
a lot of times I think women, single women especially, are like, I'm looking for Mr. Right. He's gonna do all this stuff for me. He's got to be this and that and the other, and there's no thought to what you're bringing to the table and
Right.
you need to
Right.
do as an individual, because
Mm-hmm.
marriage is not about what the other person is doing for you. It's
Right.
you're still a person. You need to be a whole person.
Right. But would you say, Renee, though, with preparing yourself, would you have said that very same thing if you were in your 20s? You know, would you, you know what I'm saying? I
Different
think
different
different
mindset.
mindset. That's what I'm
Different
saying. It's a
mindset.
Yeah.
different mindset. I think, 20 years ago, I was in a totally different space, even married, so definitely, as you, like you said, it's time you mature and, you learn yourself. So definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. I also think that it would have been different had I gotten married younger.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're both more settled. He's a calm, very giving, very loving.
Mm-hmm.
He's had lessons in life that he's learned, and now
Mm-hmm.
he's able to very patient. Oh my goodness, he's so patient with me. So
Mm-hmm.
one of the things I think Kiara mentioned about what is the prayer now, and the for me is I'm thankful that the Lord gave me this opportunity. He answered my prayer, and it, as far as even with our wedding, I know we're about to run out of time. The day of our wedding, I thought about one thing. Now, let me back up. Now, had we gotten married during the summer, there wouldn't have been a wedding because of all this COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And I think about how God's timing is perfect because we got married in October when we did. That day, that weekend, there were many couples whose weddings were canceled. And ours was almost canceled that day because we had the fires and the power outages going on over here. But the Lord allowed, our facility and the individual and the place where we were getting married, it was a site, an evacuation site. So we had all these random people in this area. And so I just thank God that everything worked out. And it's just like confirmation throughout the day, throughout the time, and even now. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
I
good.
think something that we will definitely take away from what you shared also, that I hope everyone heard you say, is that you had to surrender. You had to get to a place where you had to completely surrender to God's will, right? You had all these ideas about how things were going to go and should go, and you had positioned yourself according to what you thought was going to be the best case scenario, and it didn't work out. And it was only when you said, you know what? Okay, I'm surrendering my plans and my will to God. And he said, oh, great. Now I can take control of your life. And he said, I'm going to position you someplace else where you're completely not comfortable. And it seems like it's completely against what makes all sense. And that's when it all worked out. And so I hope somebody out there hears that. And maybe you've been trying to orchestrate life for yourself and finding Mr. Right. And maybe God is saying, okay, let me know when you're done. and when you're ready to surrender to my will, because I got some plans, in place for you.
Mm-hmm.
But, I'm waiting for you to let go so that I can
Right.
take control. And that might be what's holding things up. So I think that's awesome.
Absolutely.
Thank you
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
much for sharing your story.
Thank
Thank
you.
So
you.
I'm
Thank
gonna
you.
leave that there and go to our scriptures now and say goodbye. Thank you, Renee, for
Thank you.
joining us.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, our scripture for today, definitely one of my favorite scriptures, is a Song of Solomon. In 6:3, it says, "My beloved is mine, and I am his." And then our second one, it says, "God's spirit makes us loving, happy, peaceful, patient, kind, good, faithful, gentle, and self-controlled." And that's Galatians 5:22-23. "And always be humble and gentle, patiently put up with each other and love each other." And that's Ephesians 4:2. And definitely But it's
Yes.
also love. It requires patience.
All of that.
All of that.
Yes. We're going to have a part 2 of this to talk about what happens after you find Mr. Right.
Yeah.
So that's all the time we have. We have had a great conversation today. Want to remind you that I'll be talking with my friend Shayla tomorrow for a special live at this same place at 3:00 to discuss The Purpose Driven Life by Rick Warren. So I hope you will join us to do that. And next week, Kim and I will be one-on-one for a special conversation that we hope you will join us for. That's going to be fun, Kim.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. And then we are changing the game during the month of July. You are going to definitely want to tune in for that. It's going to be so much fun. We have some fantastic guests lined up for the month of July. So we hope you'll join us. And yes. That's all we've got for you today. I'm Kim with an E.
And I'm Kim with an I.
See you
Thank you,
time.
guys. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey, girl, are you ready for a change? Then join us throughout the month of July as we meet the Game Changers. They're dynamic, they're empowered, and they're here. Saturdays at 5 p.m. at K. Roper. Don't miss it.